Hey, Foot Clan, Omaha Steaks gourmet holiday gifts are back. They make life easier and a whole lot more delicious. Omaha Steaks has a great limited-time offer. Get 28 favorites that are guaranteed to thrill for only $49.99. That's a $195 value. Go to omahasteaks.com, type fantasy in the search bar, and add the family gift package to your cart. That's omahasteaks.com, code fantasy. Don't wait. Order today.
Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast, coming to you from Draft.com Studios with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Welcome back. Thanks. We're all a little bit heavier than we were the last time we talked.
Yeah, there's certainly an expansion of mass happening.
If putting on weight was greater than losing weight in our culture, I would be king. I would be the leader of the peoples.
I thought you said putting on. Like,
that's part of it.
Pudding would play a role.
Putting on weight.
How many cans of cranberries did you eat, Jason?
Oh, 0. I don't waste time with bad food takes like you and Andy.
Mashed potatoes.
Oh, so
over under a
bathtub.
A metric
I'll take
ton.
the over.
A metric ton. Yeah. So you had more of a, I don't know, like a Chris Herndon level of Thanksgiving food over a Ed Dixon level.
Yeah.
7 for 57 for Chris Herndon, 2 for 13 for Red Dead.
Oh, we're gonna start with this, huh?
Yeah,
I don't know.
apparently.
I forgot about the bet specifically. I knew it was anti-Ed Dixon. I didn't even remember who I bet on, nor did I know that Chris Herndon
did it matter.
have such a great
It doesn't matter. You could bet almost anybody. You could bet Jesse James over Ed Dixon. And
You've established yourself so well on this show, Jason, where you can make Ed Dixon your start of the week. Did you get a tweet?
Oh, no, nobody cared.
A tweet of hate?
Nobody
at all?
cared. The people were with me. They understood what Ed Dixon was. He was a roll of the dice that was exploding dice. If you're going to put him in your lineup and come with me on the ride, you're going to have the glory play if it hits, and if not, it's Ed Dixon.
If it hits, you get like 5 points.
Yeah.
There's a chance you're rolling die that could actually explode.
Yes.
And just kill everyone around you.
What I'm saying is you're immune.
Sometimes it's worth it.
You're immune. You're just immune to everything. You have carte blanche.
Oh, don't worry. I hurt on the inside.
Yeah.
Well.
And it feels good.
Let's look at some Punday reactions to the weekend. We've got the Boyd is back in town.
Oh, the Boyd is back in town.
It's true. Tyler
like
Boyd, legit. Let's hear it for the Boyd.
Let's hear it for the Boyd.
You got Cortland Nuthin.
Man.
Only one catch for Cortland.
That one is
Cortland sucking.
Oh,
yeah,
no.
That one is so disappointing. This is when the schedule opens up. We, and specifically I, expected good things for Cortland Sutton. And here, Denver shows up. They win the game. They're now this,
They have a chance at
darling playoff Cinderella.
Yeah, they have a shot. They're 5-6. Christian McNasty.
Oh. Well, careful. Cream Hunt is
you call him nasty?
Cream Hunt is Mr. Nasty.
This week, Christian McNasty.
He was.
Getting it done.
He was.
Greg Olson. He was outside the top 30 tight ends.
Did Ed Dixon beat Greg Olson?
I think they were I think he did.
Whoa.
And so there's one Greg Olson, a guy out there that's like, I'm going to start Dixon. And he turned out.
And it worked out. You're welcome.
Leonard suspended for next game.
I love it. That's probably true.
Alshon Jeffrey.
Goodness, man.
And Pooper Camario.
Oh, come on. Leave Alvin alone.
Yeah, I mean, people expect the best from their best.
They do. The Leonard, or not the Leonard Fournette, the Alshon Jeffrey and the overall state of anyone not named Zach Ertz catching the ball from Carson Wentz is very troublesome. Very troublesome indeed.
Quick question of the day. I wanted this one in here after the Sunday night game. Fantasy owners want to know. Maybe they don't want to know. Maybe they're afraid to ask the question. Maybe they're afraid to even.
They need to ask it.
Yeah. Is Aaron Rodgers a streamer?
Yes.
Oh, no.
He is
Aaron
one.
Rodgers has 4. Count them, 4 quarterback 1 performances in 12 weeks.
Aaron Rodgers is without a doubt a streamer. When I was talking this last week, and I made Kirk Cousins my start of the week, and I was talking about, maybe Aaron Rodgers can keep up with the Minnesota defense, and we started that discussion of, is he a maybe now? It's like, yeah. I mean, he just hasn't been that good, and he's lost Jordy Nelson, which clearly has hurt him, and you can have the whole argument of, well, shouldn't he be good enough? He's Aaron Rodgers. Shouldn't he be good enough to play without, Jordy?
Yes.
Tom Brady's played without all of his guys that change every year, but it doesn't matter if he should be or shouldn't be. He has not been and is not going to be an every week, nonstop, perfect star player without Jordy. That's been clear this year. I mean, 4 out of 12. You're at 33% of your weeks finishing as a quarterback 1. Here's what Aaron Rodgers was the previous 2 years coming into last year. He was averaging 74% of his games as a quarterback 1. That's why you drafted him early. So if you want to know a frame of reference, like when you finish about 30, 33%, 36% of your games as a quarterback 1 over the last 2 years, that same stretch, that would be Derek Carr, Marcus Mariota finishing just ahead of Aaron Rodgers on a quarterback 1 rate, and then Josh McCown just a little bit behind. So, I mean, it's not – I mean, obviously, is he going to be able to right the ship? Is he a great quarterback, better than those other options? Obviously. But
that just means he can give you a 4-touchdown game, obviously. He started the game yesterday. You thought, wow, here we go. And 17 total completions on the game, 198 yards, 1 touchdown. And something's broken in Green Bay. And it's more than just saying, like, it's easy to make excuses for him and say, well, you have a bunch of young pass catchers and Jimmy Graham's banged up and now you lose your left tackle. And you got hurt that first week of the year. And all those things are true. But something's broken from a play calling perspective, from an execution perspective. I mean, he missed Devontae Adams.
Yeah,
on a wide open touchdown.
Yes.
He missed St. Brown in the flat by about 3 feet. I mean,
when the pass was 5 yards away.
Yeah, I mean, and the game before, a big third down. Missed there's a pun for you. Can we go MVS POS? Sorry. That's a little over.
Let's pull back the reins.
That's not fair. That's not fair. But it's also fair. Find us on YouTube, youtube.com/thefantasyfootballers. Definitely check out our Instagram. It's been hot.
Yeah.
Instagram.com/fantasyfootballers.
Instant and Grammy. That's how we do it.
That's a bad sell. Yeah. FootClanGiveaway.com. We've got the Megalodon giveaway. You can head over there, win a Saquon jersey, win a Hopkins jersey.
How long does that last? Because that giveaway is hot.
Let me put it this way. It could end any minute.
What?
But it won't, probably.
Okay.
It might end in a little while.
Awesome.
But I don't want to tell. I don't want people to lose the imminence.
Okay.
If you want to win now. If you want to win a Saquon Barkley jersey, autographed. DeAndre Hopkins jersey, autographed. Michael Thomas helmet, autographed. Then you need to get over their stat pronto.
What's that URL again?
That would be FootClanGiveaway.com. Are you going right now?
I'm ineligible.
Oh, that's true. All right, let's get into the rewind. Maybe.
Weekly Rewind.
Do you want me to hit the alarm, Mike? Is it alarm worthy? Are we at that point in the season?
Melvin Gordon.
Why don't you take this one?
Melvin Gordon suffered a grade 2 MCL sprain. That means there is a slight tear in his MCL. He will be out at least the next few weeks. They're hoping if the rehab and recovery goes well, he will be back before the end of the regular season. Does that mean week 17? Does that mean week 16? Who knows? Who knows? And this is one of those reasons that for the past,
4 weeks, 5 weeks?
3 weeks we've been saying, if you have a known handcuff, you have to stash him on your bench unless you have a wild amount of depth that handcuff won't come in and take over.
Yeah.
Did you see how visibly upset, I think it was Phillip Rivers, after that play? Because it was a funky play. It was a little
play was so stupid.
A double reverse.
So stupid.
Isn't that a double standard, though? We're always like, teams need to be more.
I don't think it was a stupid play.
You're mad at teams for not having more motion and different looks?
I always hate a double reverse. I always hate it. It does. Of course, it works sometimes.
You're saying because it starts you like 12 yards behind the line?
No, I hate the double reverse.
What about the triple?
No, that one's all right.
Well, the triple double?
You keep going.
Now you're getting into your Thanksgiving Day meal. The triple double.
Regardless, the play did not work. Melvin Gordon was already, I'm sure you were following the news. There was worry that he may not play because of a knee injury coming into the game, and Melvin Gordon talked his way onto the field, only to have this happen. The guy had a knee problem. Why are we running double reverses with him?
It's not like a double reverse is a higher probability of getting injured type of play. You could say the same thing of why are we running him up the middle. He got injured.
I can say this. Melvin Gordon has been injured on 100% of his double reverses this year.
I don't know that that's for sure true.
I think
don't either.
Sometimes the funky plays, like the Andrew Luck pass on 4th down, where they lined him up as a wideout and then just
what are you doing?
Threw him a pass to get clobbered. Yeah, you got the first down, but your odds on a funky play like that.
Yeah, that is
risky business.
Is dumb. The only good news here, if you're looking at this schedule, so Pro Football Doc said, he's definitely missing at least a week, more than likely multiple weeks. But in 3 weeks, they have a really big in-divisional playoff, mattering matchup against the Chiefs. So
is that week 15, you mean?
3 weeks from now. So yes, week 15. Then I'm just saying if that pushes him towards that, like maybe he can get back a little earlier because they need him to, and he's there for the fantasy playoffs.
I think it will matter a little bit, or at least it could matter what they're playing for. What's the stakes? Have they clinched a spot? They obviously dominated the Arizona Cardinals this week, which, by the way, Cardinals have opened. They've opened their Vegas line against the 4-6-1 Packers.
The under 500 Packers.
The under 5. They've opened as 14.5-point underdogs.
14
and a half. It's more than 2 scores, and it's gonna be the Packers covering.
Right. I thought about wearing my Cardinal hat today, and then
nope.
Realized it was in the fireplace.
Yeah. Andy Dalton has been diagnosed with a sprained thumb. Is day to day. This matters because you got Driscoll. You got Driscoll in there who threw 24 passes, and it doesn't make you look. The Bengals are a dumpster fire.
Yep,
but
it's bad
for fantasy purposes.
Dumpster fire.
Yeah, a huge.
Oh, I see what you did.
But what you want is consistency, the same way you want Eli Manning, the quarterback of the Giants, for Odell Beckham Jr. You want Andy Dalton, the quarterback of the Bengals, for A.J. Green's return and for Tyler Boyd's consistent performances.
And
I'm not
Nixon.
I'm not going to risk the Driscoll life.
No, man, the Driscolls are everywhere.
The Driscolls are everywhere. Arthur. I just need more time. Marlon Mack was forced from Sunday's game with a concussion, did not return. We need to monitor Marlon Mack this week. He seems to get banged up, and he could miss, and you could end up with a Jordan Wilkins / Nyheim Hines mix in the backfield next week for the 5 straight win Colts?
That's correct.
Evan Ingram. This was bad. He suffered a hamstring injury in pregame warm-ups, did not play, and
I was so
the Giants
upset.
announced the injury after the first quarter started.
Yeah, I mean, that's what was upsetting is this happened pre-game, and there was no information, nothing on Twitter, nothing from beat reporters, nothing from – because the Giants really didn't even release the information. It's like, look, I know you're playing a real football game that matters. You don't care about fantasy, yada, yada, but it's like this happened before the game. People could have made a move. People could have taken him out of the lineup.
Yeah, and
it sounds like Evan Ingram would have had to be the one to text everybody based on when it happened.
I agree. Jason, that yes, they shouldn't care about fantasy, but they should at least care that we are paying the bills, and fantasy is really driving the success of the NFL. Like those contracts are in part due to us playing fantasy football. So if you get hurt before the game, just say, hey, this guy's not going to play because he got hurt.
It's a good point. I feel like I am paying their salaries.
I was going to say, that's like the most fantasy football entitled statement I've ever heard.
I love it.
It's terrible. The NFL does a lot for that. They get rid of the whole got rid of the probable dance that we used to have, and they give us reports. I mean, this was just one of those really unfortunate last-minute injuries. So Rhett Ellison had a game.
Yeah.
That's what happened, which is almost more insult to injury because Evan Ingram hasn't been having games. But Rhett Ellison actually, I think, was a top 10 tight end this week. The big news, Leonard Fournette ejected in the third quarter, was throwing punches,
throwing them hands.
Got kicked out.
He was not in the play. He was not a part of what happened with Moncrief catching his almost touchdown, and then the weird wrestling match that ensued of a game of chicken of refusing to let go of the ball.
No, you let go.
If you didn't see it, Dante Moncrief went up, caught a pass, simultaneous catch, and laid on the ground with the DB fighting over the ball for maybe 5 minutes.
Actually, they have set up right now a live cam. You can go watch.
He's still
they
there?
are still
happening.
holding onto that ball, refusing to let go. The play is blown dead.
It's like that contest where you got to keep your hand on the car, and the last one touching the car wins the car. And so they think, well, obviously, if I let go, that means that I lose the ball, even though the play has been over. The referees are like on top of them, blowing the whistle.
The play has been over for minutes. It was legit the funniest thing. After like 4 minutes had gone on, it was legit. I'm laughing. It was so funny watching these two grown men, knowing that the play has been over 4 minutes, just refusing to. No, you let go.
Yeah, but Leonard Fournette did not find it funny.
Well, as you say, if Moncrief lets go, then Leonard Fournette's probably not.
Oh,
in
absolutely.
Trouble. And Fournette could be suspended next week.
Very
we
possible.
don't know. He'll be subject to further discipline. The Jags fired offensive coordinator Nathaniel Hackett this morning.
Couldn't hack it.
Yeah, I knew that joke was coming from you.
I thought about saying it. I swallowed that joke.
Yeah, I did too. But not everybody has that filter.
Look, not everyone has courage to tell a good joke.
While that might be true,
I
don't believe that is the situation we are dealing with here.
Andrew Norwell also carted off left guard, so it's not looking good for
that's
Fournette.
Bad news.
Yeldon could be a get yourself in the fantasy playoffs surprise pickup next week.
Carlos Hyde.
Or Hyde,
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that when we get some more news. And, I mean, there's so much to cover. We got studs and duds on the show today and a lot more fantasy news to talk about. And the thing is sometimes things just don't go right in fantasy football. Sometimes you do everything you can do, and then injuries happen, or your opponent scores the most points possible, and you have to come in on Monday, and you have to reassemble your atoms, right, from the melted pool of depression from the day before and the sadness of all that has gone wrong in this world. Brooks, earlier this year, was losing week after week in our dynasty league. You remember that, Brooks?
Oh, yeah.
I think you got a shout out on the show.
I think I was 1-4.
He 1-4. His team was great, and he was losing to the highest scorer every week. He just won the division. He bounced back, won the division because he pulled himself together.
Good for you, Brooks.
And he accomplished his goals. But that happens, and now everybody's fighting for the playoffs, and we're here to help.
He is forced to listen to the show every single day.
Well, that obviously
So, I mean,
helps.
that is clearly.
Actually, I just read a Apple podcast review. Guy started 0-5. He's rattled off 7 straight.
Oh, my man.
From he subscribed, won 7 straight.
Well,
Woo!
It's like the inverse of the Hugh Jackson effect. It's the exact opposite. All right, we're going to get into the stud muffins. Before we do that, I want to thank Pristine Auction. You can see on the studio wall this morning.
Oh, there's a star on the wall.
JuJu Smith-Schuster autographed
Mr.
jersey.
97.
Yeah, 97-yard touchdown. Tied his record He likes 97-yard touchdowns. JuJu Smith-Schuster signed jersey on the wall. Here are some of the recently auctioned memorabilia items from pristineauction.com. Tyreek Hill signed Chiefs jersey, $92. Devontae Adams signed Packers football, $96. Tariq Cohen signed football, $51. There are multiple hundreds of daily auctions that go off. This is the best. Like, everybody's shopping for gifts, right? We've already got our closet. There's a corner for all the kids' gifts and family gifts that we're stashing everything away. And I'm trying to find gifts. There are people that I don't know how to buy anything for. And you don't want to go gift card. Come on. It's Christmas.
Yeah.
Get them a signed piece of autographed memorabilia from pristineauction.com, Pristine auction.com.
Want to thank Movement Watches for sponsoring today's show, founded on the belief that style shouldn't break the bank. Movement Watches are all about looking good while keeping it simple. Look, the Movement Watches, they start at just $95. Meanwhile, you're looking at $400 for the same quality from a traditional brand. It's no wonder Movement has sold almost 2 million watches in over 160 countries. I have a few Movement watches. They are crisp. They are clean. I even got the wife some stuff from Movement, including some sweet glasses, a really, really nice looking bracelet. Look, the wife was very pleased when I said, hey, check out this stuff I got you from Movement Watches. You got to check it out.
Said this guy can hack it.
Yeah, there we go. If you need help giving the perfect gift this season but don't know where to start, the guys over at Movement, they got your back. They did all the hard work by curating their favorite styles into awesome gift boxes and packages so you wouldn't have to. And you can get 15% off with free shipping and free returns by going to mvmt.com/footballers. Movement's launching new styles on their site all the time. Check out the latest at mvmt.com/footballers. That's mvmt.com/footballers. Join the movement.
This week's Fantasy Stud Muffins.
There's a game tonight, too. You know that? The football match?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, it's kind of important for them.
That's
playoff.
true. It is actually
it's a
really
big game.
Really big game.
I'll bring up Mariota is in. We haven't been
Marcus
on
Mariota's
going
to play the football tonight.
And the Titans defensive coordinator, if you remember, left last week, left mid-game, had to go to the hospital. He is back. He will be on the sideline coaching their defense tonight.
That's good to hear.
Yes.
All right, Stud Muffins. You mentioned it, start of the week for Jason, the number one quarterback on the week as of right now. Kirk Cousins, 29 for 38, 342 and 3. We had just talked about the fact that Cousins hadn't thrown 3 touchdowns in quite some time, and he's like, watch this.
Yeah.
Watch what I can
Getting
do.
a little pep talk.
But some big weeks from some not-so-big names in fantasy. Dak Prescott, Josh Allen, Baker Mayfield, and Andrew Luck. Well, Andrew Luck, he's just Andrew Luck. But what did you think of we didn't reflect on the Dak Prescott game after the Megalodon, right? Thursday night or Thursday afternoon, played Washington. Had rushing touchdown, 2 passing touchdowns. Amari Cooper is changing the future of Dak Prescott right now. And I'm surprised, but it's the case.
Yeah, it has. The trade has worked out well so far for Dallas. They are in the thick of it in what appears to be a poor division. And Dak, for fantasy purposes, has been good. He's rushing the ball enough, and now he's got a weapon that can do something on his own. Opens things up for the ancillary pieces like Michael Gallup to be able to get free. But it's really been Amari Cooper stealing the show, just coming in. Stealing the show.
The newcomer?
Yeah, there you go, Mike. No, so Dak's been great, but the guy that I wanted to talk about, who I don't think has got the love, certainly not from Mike or myself, preseason got some love from you, Andy, but Josh Allen needs to be talked about because the way that we discuss Lamar Jackson is that when you have a rushing quarterback, and I hate this so much in fantasy, but rushing quarterbacks get so much value from, every 10 yards rushing is 25 yards passing in normal scoring systems. And so that's why Lamar Jackson is a must-own, a must-play most weeks when he's the starter. And Josh Allen had over 100 yards rushing before 2 kneel downs, took him to 99 yards. And this is this is coming into, if you go back and watch his college tape, he was referred to a lot like Cam Newton's type of runner, and he is a physical athlete, a freak, just a big, strong, fast guy. So, I mean, should we be looking at Josh Allen as a legitimate streamer, or is this just a one case?
It's interesting. He has 4 rushing touchdowns on the season, and you got to remember he missed a number of games.
Yeah.
He didn't start the season as the starter, and then he missed a number of games due to injury. So in his last 5 starts, he has 4 rushing touchdowns. So I think we can't ignore that. Now, his passing yardage in those 5 games never surpassed 200 yards. So
same with Lamar Jackson's 2 starts, right?
I think the floor is really low for Allen.
Well, he had 245 against the Chargers.
I said the last 5 starts.
Oh, I apologize.
But the floor is lower for Allen than it is for Lamar Jackson. And the ceiling is lower for Josh Allen than it is for Lamar Jackson. But you can take a shot at him.
Yeah.
You have to get the rushing yardage, though, because the 3 previous starts, he only had 19, 19, and 20 rushing yards and ended with basically basement fantasy numbers. So it's interesting. 13 for 99. Maybe they unraveled something there. Jacksonville is unraveled in and of itself, that defense. But, yeah, he had a big week. Baker, 19 for 26, 258 and 4, revenge game against Mr. Hugh Jackson. But he went out, and we're going to talk about him later. Let's put it that way.
He's been balling out.
Yes, it was an incredible game.
And then Andrew Luck is just great.
3 touchdowns. If you need 3 passing touchdowns, you call Andrew Luck.
The tight ends, they're real big, friendly targets in the end zone.
Eric Ebron.
Thank you, Eric Ebron. Thank you so much.
Once again, the tight end number 1 again.
What do we do?
Number 1?
Number 1 this week.
Yeah, because, of course, and I played him last week. I had Kittle on bye, played him last week, got goosed. Made him start of the week.
You ate a goose sandwich.
Number
1.
I can't recall a tight end. I mean, generally,
is that what he was? He was number 1
this week,
then a 0, and then a number 1.
I don't know if he was number 1 2 weeks ago. I'll look that up.
Was that the 3 touchdown week?
Yeah, he probably was number
1, 0 points,
1.
and
this
then number
just
1.
Binary.
I don't recall
terrible.
a tight end or any player where the ceiling is like on any given week. Eric Ebron could be the number 1 guy at the position, or he could be
never touch the ball.
He could never touch the ball. That's bananas. He is breaking fantasy and breaking my heart.
I love it.
Without counting this week, so you include the goose of last week, he was number 3 on the year. He's got 12 touchdowns now. So, yeah, ridiculous. But we're talking about quarterbacks. So let's talk about Russell Wilson. I want to get your guys' opinion on Russell Wilson this week. Again, he is outperforming the expectation the last few weeks. If you look at where, consensus experts are ranking Russell Wilson week to week, he is outperforming that, making big plays when the game's on the line. This week, 339 and 2. It's all with his arm. He's not rushing the football at all. San Francisco next week.
San Francisco 2 of the next 3 weeks.
Yeah, and Minnesota at home in between. Russell Wilson, is he going to be a key cog in some championship runs? Or are you still hesitant?
It's fair to say that because of the next month of matchups. San Francisco, Minnesota's at least at home, and one of the news pieces, Xavier Rhodes, superstar corner for Minnesota, he's banged up. We have to wait and see what's going on with him. But then San Francisco, and then Kansas City at home.
Championship week.
I mean, so yeah, Russell Wilson certainly could be a key piece.
It's tough because that Brian Schottenheimer, if it were up to him, he would hand the ball off on every play.
Yes, he would.
Like if it was his choice, but they haven't had that choice. Phillip Rivers was okay. 28 for 29, 259, and 3.
Started the game with 25
completions.
For 25 for 25. Broke the NFL record. Scored 1 more point than Josh Allen because Josh Allen ran the ball.
How dare you? He tied the record.
He did?
How dare you?
I thought he broke it.
No, he tied it.
I
tied Ryan Tannehill's record.
I was confused.
Don't you
too.
dare disrespect Ryan Tannehill on this show.
Yeah, okay.
He broke the record to start a game.
Yes.
That's what it was.
That was what I was saying.
To start
But he
a game.
tied the number.
Here's one of my life rules. If someone
The record is the 25 straight. It's not like I started the game with 25.
if someone ever comes out and ties a record that was set by Ryan Tannehill, you get the record.
You just
They're like, oh, we get to erase this.
He just really dark marker right over Ryan Tannehill.
And let's be honest,
How?
that wasn't Ryan Tannehill. That was Jarvis Landry.
That was Jarvis's record?
Asterisk Jarvis Landry.
You guys, we all bodied Ryan Tannehill right there. Running back studs. Christian McCaffrey did it again. 2,000 yards of total offense in this game. No, he was 17 for 125 on the ground, 11 for 112 through the air. But they lost their third straight game. And there's some similarities to me between the what Carolina's doing and what Minnesota's done this year, where the defense is it just hasn't been able to win games on its own if things don't go right on offense. But Christian McCaffrey is a fantasy beast.
Yes.
Do you want in a dynasty league? Let's put it in context. Who do you want ahead of CMC in a dynasty at the running back position? The way he's played this year, I mean, he is
Todd Gurley, Saquon Barkley, Ezekiel Elliott, then Christian McCaffrey.
You'd still take Zeke over Christian McCaffrey?
I would, yeah.
Okay.
Whew, yeah, he might be like
Kareem Hunt
right.
or Christian McCaffrey in a dynasty.
I'd probably go Christian McCaffrey, but they're in the same conversation.
Yeah, they're very, very close. I bet they would be back to back.
Yeah, the pass catching just makes me feel like the shelf life in a dynasty league of Christian McCaffrey is very, very long. Nick Chubb, 28 for 84.
I love you, Nick Chubb.
But catching a couple passes every week now, caught a touchdown pass.
Caught a terrible. I mean, the touchdown pass. If you haven't seen it, he jumps up. The ball was thrown behind the defender, and he wraps his hands around, does one of those, like, I caught it on the other side of you things.
Baker put it where only Nick Chubb could have caught it.
That is true.
I mean, it was a 2% probability that he could catch that pass, but only Nick Chubb could catch it.
Kenyon Drake,
he was great.
8 for 32 and a touchdown, 5 for 64 through the air and a touchdown. Only gets 13 touches. There are certain players this year that when you watch them, like I'll openly admit I was wrong about a couple guys. Like Kenyon Drake is legitimately a good player. He's a really good, he's somebody that I didn't believe in. Now a lot of that had to do with platoon situation, but it also had to do with the fact I didn't think he was a great player. I think he is a good player.
Yeah,
I also think Marlon Mack is the other one that kind of looks a little better than I thought he was going to look on the year.
The talent of Drake, I guess it was never in a question for me, but Mr. B-Hole just doesn't use him. I mean, look, 13 total touches for Kenyon Drake when he's having an absolute monster game. I think my official stance now, when people ask, should I start Kenyon Drake, my answer is just going to be sure, because it's so hard to recommend a running back that's going to only touch the ball 13 times, but he just keeps exploding.
Yeah, I mean, if you want the big games from Drake, you have to be able to
play him every week.
Yeah, you got to play him every week, and hopefully he's that flex type guy that you put in there. And when he busts, he's still going to end up with 4 or 5 points, which stinks. But when he explodes, he could have 30+ fantasy points.
Yeah, because 2 weeks ago, 27 rushing yards, 11 receiving yards. 3 weeks ago, 9 rushing yards.
Well, and he was
still
banged up.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up.
He left the game.
It's worth knowing he was redshirted this past week in practice because of the shoulder injury. Left this game because he re-aggravated the shoulder injury.
He did come back in, though.
He did come back in, but the point is he's dealing with something that is clearly lingering. I'm sure he's going to be redshirted this week, non-contact. And so if next week it's early in the game and he goes out, that might swing the pendulum to where you go, maybe you don't start him if you've got another good option.
Let's talk about LeGarrette Blount on Thursday with no competition from Carry On. He had 19 for 88. That's actually a good game.
No, the problem is
touchdowns.
The problem was it was a good game, and we needed LeGarrette Blount to just fail. So when Carry On Johnson came back from his injury, it was okay. You're our man, Carry On, but now Blount does this.
Are you looking Blount's way then?
No.
On the waiver show tomorrow. You're not 19 for 88. I don't think Kerryon's back next week.
I think
you're not glancing the big boys' way?
I mean, look, if you're desperate, maybe. If you're in a deep league, maybe. I believe he's on our waivers in our dynasty league that has like 30. That's probably a problem. As Andy's like, let me go over to a dynasty league.
He's not. He's owned.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay, well, then he was picked up this last week.
Yeah, by okay. I thought it was Brooks, but no, somebody else.
Anyways, my issue, so he's got the Los Angeles Rams coming. That's, good defensive line, and Kerryon's going to come back, so I would rather look elsewhere.
Yeah, I do. Okay. Yeah, I mean, they played what? Chicago?
Yep.
Yeah. Sony Michel, 21 for 133 and 1, finally looked healthy after the bye. I have said this. I continue to say it. I don't think I have agreement on this set, so I want these guys to talk about it.
Sure.
I have zero concern about Rex Burkhead coming back when it comes to Sony Michel. I don't know how you guys feel. I think Michel is just – he's doing what they need at the position, what they drafted him in the first round to do. I don't expect – he's not making his hay in the passing game. He's doing it on the ground. I don't see any real risk to Sony Michel with Rex Burkhead coming back. Do you guys feel the same? What do you feel like? People have asked this question all over Twitter. They want to know your take on
I'll agree.
Rex Burkhead.
I'll agree that I don't think he has a bunch of risk with Rex Burkhead coming back, but he will lose the potential for his ceiling if he loses goal line work. But outside of that, I think I would be more worried for James White than I would be for Sony Michel. If you look at what James White did when Rex was in at the beginning of the year, it just wasn't enough to be fantasy relevant. Except for full PPR leagues, it would be okay, but you're still disappointed. But no, I think Sony has carved that role out, and it's his. And I don't think when Rex Burkhead comes back, if he comes back for sure.
Yeah, he's eligible next week. I think that Sony's safe, but we've seen strange things happen with the Patriots, the running back core. I do believe Sony will get far more work than Rex Burkhead, but I agree with Jason that you at least have to consider the possibility that Rex Burkhead will take goal line work away.
Melvin Gordon, before the injury, 10 for 61 and 2. And then Austin Ekeler came in, ended up a top 10 running back on the week. Here's the question for fantasy owners. I saw a lot of this, Ekeler versus Josh Adams. If you got to pick one up. If you're the Gordon owner, does it matter? Or are you just trying to find the best option, regardless of whether it's your handcuff? Would you rather have Josh Adams or Austin Ekeler? And is Ekeler RB1 rest of the season? What is he?
That's versus Josh Adams is a very interesting case because we actually saw the changing of the guard for Josh Adams. He didn't make it into the super studs, but he was 22 carries, 84 yards with a touchdown. He played on 62% of the snaps. I mean, that's a monster amount for a Philadelphia running back, an absolute
monster amount for any running back, really.
So if that can continue, and we got the reports coming into the game that Philadelphia said they were going to make Josh Adams the featured running back. We've heard teams say things like that, but they actually did it. So comparing Austin Ekeler to Josh Adams, I think, is extremely difficult, especially if you're saying you are the Melvin Gordon owner. If I had Gordon, I think I would prefer to have Ekeler because I know that his role is safe.
If I was in a standard league, no PPR at all, I would lean Adams. Otherwise, I think I would go Ekeler.
Yeah,
that's the way I would
my
go.
stance
because
as
there's a pretty stark difference between, I think carries are going to be in Adams' favor for sure.
Yes, they will be because Josh Jackson will come in and get some of the carries. Eckler's not going to be a 30. Justin Jackson will come in. Eckler's not going to be a 30 carry type of or 30 touch type of running back. He's just not built for that. But I don't love Josh Adams' upcoming schedule either. Washington, Dallas, the Rams, Houston. with the way Philly's playing, I mean, this isn't a super high-powered offense right now.
Matt Breida, 14 for 106, played great.
Yes, he did.
Little bit of a difficult schedule to end the year, though. Seattle, up in Seattle, then Denver, then Seattle again, then Chicago.
Oh.
Yeah, not great. Wide receivers, let's talk about him. He did work this week. He ended up number 1 on the week. Amari Cooper, 8 for 180 and 2 on 9 targets. Thanksgiving Day feast for Amari Cooper. JuJu also had a monster week, 13 for 189 and 1, had the 97-yarder. That kind of helps. These two guys each had a 90-plus yard touchdown catch.
Did you see how many targets JuJu had?
That would be 17.
So I'm playing a game.
You're playing a game.
Where I've got
Monopoly?
It's called fantasy football.
Okay.
And I've got Antonio Brown, and the other guy's got JuJu.
Your star is born. You're a huge fan.
So difficult to watch the guy that I have been high on for so long and love so much just destroy my face. And the thing is that sucks is every time that there is any kind of pass to an open wide receiver wearing that Steelers jersey, it's always Antonio Brown in your mind at first. You know, it's always. It doesn't matter if he's on the other side of the field. Like, oh, Antonio Brown lined up to the right and now is deep pass to the left. It's still like, is that Antonio? Did he cross the field? And every time it was JuJu.
Yes.
Well, 17 times.
Yes, 17
different disappointments for you.
Yes.
On a Sunday afternoon.
One
That's what it seemed like.
especially big disappointment. 97-yard disappointment.
What? Give me another name. Give me another stud at the wide receiver position you want to talk about. There were some big ones. Talked about Tyler Boyd. Calvin Ridley had a nice game this week. David Moore.
I would bring up.
Huh?
I didn't know if he was still talking about David Moore. I would bring up Emmanuel Sanders because this is, all the love for Cortland Sutton that was shared. A lot of that was due to the schedule opening up, and everything went Emmanuel Sanders' way. I mean, Mike was playing against him in an important game, and it was just left, right, and center. When the game was on the line, Case Keenum was looking to Emmanuel Sanders, ended up with 86 yards, a touchdown, 12 targets, and the forthcoming schedule. This is why we're going to get into Rising Stars soon. I was going to bring up Phillip Lindsay, who he's not going to be my rising star, but he has totally turned the corner in my mind of being an okay fantasy player too. He is a great running back. He's just really great. But their schedule is Cincinnati, San Francisco, Cleveland, Oakland, championship. So
that's nice.
I really like Emmanuel Sanders.
Mike?
I think that the interesting thing was just the success of the Seattle wide receivers, both Tyler Lockett and David Moore, coming through with huge games. Doug Baldwin, he played. He played football.
That's about all you can say about him this year.
It's just been disappointment.
That he's been active. If you're in a 10 points per being active league,
he's
still
got some points.
The problem is
average.
The other guys also were active. So then they get the 10-point bonus.
That's not a good league. That's a bad league format. Julian Edelman had a touchdown. T.Y. Hilton again, 10 targets, 7 for 125. Found a way to break a big play. And then Dante Pettis.
Pettis was the next name I wanted to bring up.
I think CJ – now, I don't know where you guys – I think CJ Beathard starts next week. And I think fantasy owners should be happy about it.
Interesting.
I don't think Mullins is back out there. Kyle Shanahan didn't sound very happy with him. He had a really bad game against one of the worst defenses in football. You figured he'd come out and have a better game against Tampa Bay. He didn't. So I think CJ Beathard is going to start. And
Dante Pettis has really taken a massive uptick in terms of snaps. Now, it really helped him. It was in his favor that Marquise Goodwin did not play for personal reasons. Pierre Garçon continues to just be old and broken down. But before that had even happened, Dante Pettis had taken over, and he's a full-time player now. So are you interested in him long-term?
No.
You got Seattle, Denver, Seattle?
No, this was
a 1 week.
This was a perfect situation for Pettis. I love Pettis Dynasty. Happy to have him on my roster. But no, I mean, you're talking about this was a game in Tampa Bay the best possible matchup where you didn't have Garcon, you didn't have Goodwin. Goodwin wasn't missing, for an injury, so he should be back. Pettis it was just a cute job. Hope you played him in DFS. Not much to see there. Hey, Jermaine Kearse, Andy.
Yeah. 6 for 66.
Oh, no.
The curse of the curse.
The curse of the curse. And after that, he dropped.
He also had one touchdown.
Yeah, he dropped another touchdown that could have
taken him off of the mark of the beast.
Yeah.
That's why he dropped it. Adam Humphries, 6 targets, a touchdown. Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, they both scored. Mike Williams was up to 7 touchdowns on the year. I thought he could get to 10. Let's see if that happens. Tyrell was a questionable. He was active, but then don't forget DJ Moore. I want to bring him up again because he didn't score this week. He's not going to be at the very top of the fantasy rankings. But don't forget about him. 8 for 91 on 9 targets. The arrival of DJ Moore is real. Mm-hmm. And last week we were talking about Traquan and DJ Moore. Traquan did not play, but DJ Moore did, and he played well. He's got Tampa next week, then Cleveland, then New Orleans, then Atlanta.
Yep.
DJ Moore.
Yep.
You got to look at him. You got to look long and hard.
Mm-hmm.
Tight ends, Eric Ebron, 2 touchdowns. Jack Doyle, 1 touchdown.
Oh, Ebron.
Hey, he had 7 targets this
know.
game.
Rob Gronkowski alert.
Yeah.
Ooh,
he caught a touchdown, guys.
That's great. That's
a long
great
touchdown.
News. Yeah, 3 for 56 and a touchdown on 7 targets.
David Njoku caught a ball and was carried into the end zone. I didn't see the play
Crowd
live,
surfing, yeah.
And you guys were talking about it. And then when I saw it, it lived up to expectations. So go watch the David Njoku touchdown. It was like nothing you've ever seen before.
Cameron Brate got in the end zone.
Yeah, it's exactly what you hope for. Jameis Winston out there loves to target Cameron Brate near the red zone, and right off the bat starts the game off with a touchdown.
Rising Stars of the Week.
Certainly not my dynasty team right now.
No.
No.
Supernova'd.
Yeah.
Too early.
Yep. My rising star is the Gus Bus. Gus Edwards, running back for the Baltimore Ravens. Man, I almost threw Orioles out there, Brooks. You would have liked that.
Oh, yeah.
23 for 118, 5.1 a carry. Alex Collins was not active, and Gus delivered. And to me, it's very likely that Baltimore sticks with Lamar Jackson at quarterback. They've won a couple games in a row. Gus Edwards is getting the job done. They're doing what they want to do with him, which is, they want to use him for 20, 25 carries. They don't want to put it all on Lamar Jackson and Lamar Jackson's arm. They did not run the ball with Lamar Jackson nearly as much this week as they did the week before, which lowers his risk of injury, which is something you have to do with a quarterback, even if he's as talented as Lamar Jackson is. Gus Edwards has a strong end of the season in those legs.
Yeah, we talked about the schedule coming up for Alex Collins. This is the same schedule, same team. So I like it a lot. My rising star is Baker Mayfield. He showed so much in preseason, and early in the year you could see the flashes of what you saw in college, but then it was like, you're still the Browns, and
there was a stretch of
really
bad play.
Yeah, you're playing poor and you stink. But since Hugh Jackson has been gone,
Todd Haley as well.
And Todd Haley, sure. Since the change,
the Hugh Jackson defender.
Well, no, it matters more that Todd Haley's gone than it does Hugh Jackson. Todd Haley's the one's calling the play every week.
Since the change at coaching, head coach and offensive coordinator, Baker has been fantastic. He has the second highest passer rating over that time behind only Drew Brees. And if you look at his last 4 games from week 8 through 12, he's on, during that 4-game pace, would be 3,800 yards, 44 touchdowns, and 8 interceptions. So he's been awesome. Now the question is the schedule, because we had talked earlier in the year about what a nice schedule the Browns had coming up, and now they have completed that. They had the Tampa, Pittsburgh, Kansas City, Atlanta, Cincinnati, which was just all great, and he performed well. The reason I'm making him my rising star is I think he's good enough over these next more difficult weeks to still be relevant. Houston, Carolina, Denver, and then Cincinnati again, this time in Cleveland championship week. you got to keep your eyes on him. He helps.
No, I'll pump the brakes on him right now. He'll be my pump the brakes on Wednesday for sure.
Yeah, Houston
with the Houston matchup.
The first week of that schedule against Houston is going to be the most difficult, but he's shown that he was worthy of being the number 1 pick, that he looks to be the best quarterback in this draft class, and so I'm rising on him. I am a Baker believer.
All right, my rising star is Austin Ekeler. It's not often that you are given a guy who will slot right into it with a running back 2 floor, with a running back 1 ceiling at this point of the season. He's a tremendous pass catcher. I agree that perhaps he's not going to get 15 carries every single week that Melvin Gordon is out, but he might get 12, and on top of that, add in six or more receptions like he did this past week. Austin Ekeler is going to be the highest priority waiver claim if he happens to be on your waiver wire.
All right, so the Gus Bus, Gus Edwards, Baker Mayfield, Austin Ekeler, the rising stars this week, brought to you by fantasychamps.com. If you need a trophy, ring, jersey, check out fantasychamps.com.
Pooped in his big boy pants.
All right, let's find out how concerned you guys are in terms of fantasy, the fantasy futures of some of these poopers from Week 12. Aaron Rodgers, we talked about it, all the implications, 17 for 28, 198 and 1. But guys, what's up with Carson Wentz? The past 2 weeks for Carson Wentz, not been good.
So you know how
and Matthew Stafford had maybe the worst game of his career.
You know how judges are impartial, they're above the case that they oversee.
You mean like Giamatti?
Sure, like Giamatti. But sometimes the case that gets drawn, they are connected to it in some way, and they must recuse themselves.
Yes.
I hate Carson Wentz so much right now on a personal level for destroying my last 2 weeks.
Fella.
I am such a Carson Wentz fan, but the last 2 weeks he has just looked. He's walked right up to me and just spit in my face and said, "Ha ha, you started me again." So I recuse myself because I can't give good. Like I know I am biased right now on Carson Wentz. You guys, I am a listener now. Talk to me about what is Carson Wentz?
Hey, I'm concerned. They have to face Washington next week. That's not a defense I'm excited to have Carson Wentz face. Something's a little off in Philadelphia. They snuck this win. Maybe this win gets them on the right track. They looked like they were going down to the Giants. But then at Dallas, at the Rams, and then Houston for championship week, you have to make plans as a fantasy owner that don't include Carson Wentz for that championship week against Houston. The variability of Carson Wentz, he showed us what the floor can look like the last 2 weeks.
It was linoleum.
Oh. Ugh, no one likes that.
No one wants the linoleum floor.
Linoleum.
I'm with you, Jason, that I am struggling big time because as far as just pure numbers, not fantasy, but just NFL numbers, he was good. A 71% completion rate, 20 for 236 with a score, a passer rating of over 108. His yards per attempt are solid.
When they got near
it wasn't a fantasy day.
When they got inside the 10, it was run every time, and they got like one touchdown out of that. Pass the ball. Also, I want to see stats on what is his passer rating targeting Golden Tate, because those two they're not on the same page.
No,
which makes sense. Late, mid-season arrival, but it hasn't been good for him.
How concerned are you about James Conner? It seems like he had Le'Veon Bell there for most of the season.
He was the motivator.
And he was lighting that fire right on his butt, under his butt.
I'm not concerned at all about James Conner.
And now James Conner, 2 dud weeks.
I'm not concerned in the slightest.
Could he get 3 dud weeks? I play Brooks next week, and he's got James Conner. Could I get a triple play?
I doubt it.
Yeah.
I doubt it. I mean, you just can't be concerned when a guy does what James Conner did for as long as he did it, for an offense with an offensive line. People have bad games. When they're back-to-back, they feel worse. They feel like a trend. It's not a trend. James Conner's going to be just fine.
Tough game against Denver in Denver.
I mean, didn't he have
the week before it was Jacksonville, right?
He almost had 90 all-purpose yards, and this was a terrible game.
No, he did. He did have 90 plus.
See?
95. He fumbled. He didn't score, and that's what it came down to ultimately. Brooks is quick to remind me he still had 95 yards because he wants me afraid of him next week.
The fumble was the killer because it was a huge run. They were driving down to score, and the fumble was.
So he faced Jacksonville last week, then Denver. He has the Chargers next week, and then it lightens up with Oakland. So we'll see how that goes. Mark Ingram, not what you wanted on Thanksgiving. David Johnson could not overcome all the disgust around him. That team is struggling. James White, LaShawn McCoy, Duke Johnson, Adrian Peterson, fantasy owners that are looking to make a change this week. Is there anybody in that list that you're ready to punt? Duke Johnson, would you cut him?
Yes.
Jordan Howard, would you cut him?
Oh.
Yes.
Jalen Richard?
I don't think I would cut Jordan Howard, but I'm benching him for sure.
I would cut him. I'm going to let someone else pick him up.
That's been the question.
Jordan Howard is one of those, at this point in the season, I am okay cutting Jordan Howard and then he goes off. I accept that this is in the realm of possibilities for Jordan Howard.
Would you rather have LeGarrette Blount?
What's far more likely for Jordan Howard is that someone else picks him up, wastes a bench spot where they could be stashing a handcuff or a defense, or maybe they even play Jordan Howard. I mean,
God forbid.
They were playing the Detroit Lions without Mitch Trubisky, and Jordan Howard carried the ball 7 times. He is not in the plans.
Here's something that has, when you talk about not in the plans, we've talked about Baker's ascension to dominance lately. Here's the last 4 weeks for Jarvis Landry. 8 for 39, 6 for 50, 2 for 22, 3 for 30. Not in the plans. When Baker steps back to pass, what's up? What's up with Jarvis Landry?
No clue, because you want to talk about a correlation and trend. That's frightening for fantasy owners that Baker was really, really bad, but Jarvis Landry was getting double-digit targets. Baker has been great for a month, and Jarvis Landry is not sniffing anywhere near double-digit targets.
Yeah, it's kind of frustrating. Allen Robinson had a down week, 2 for 37. John Brown, you can punt him away if you haven't already. We told you last week you can, but he's just got no potential with Lamar
Jackson
right now. Yeah. Anybody else in the punt cat? Would you cut Cortland Sutton? I mean, are you out on it with the Cincinnati matchup next week?
No.
I was wondering, would you play Sanders and Cortland?
I'm willing to give him another week.
Likewise.
I'm
ready to move on from Marquez Valdez-Scantling. He's a guy that we talked about this last week, that his previous 2 poor weeks, he has moved into the slot. This isn't
not this past week. This past week he was on the outside and he only had 1 catch.
But everything
I was
started going
that.
EQ's way.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I don't think you can trust him. You can throw him out there as one of those, hey, maybe he gets a touchdown because Aaron Rodgers' quarterback plays, but you can't be confident. I would, if there's another wide receiver that has more assured volume on the waivers, I'd be fine to swap him out.
Trey Burton, Greg Olsen, Vance McDonald, Jimmy Graham. 4 poops.
Yeah. Tell you.
Tight end is tough. Hopefully you ended up with Cameron Brate because I think you're going to have a starter with Cameron Brate.
Yeah, Vance McDonald, he did have the terrible drop in the end zone. He was also he also left the game for injury.
Speaking of drop, Ben Watson had a big drop. Easy touchdown for Ben Watson.
Yeah,
Horrible drop. But he is a boom bust. There's so many of those guys that are in the touchdown or bust category. Hopefully you have somebody that is not. Somebody in the volume category. I mean, that's what we were talking about a lot last week with tight ends is, hey, if you can give me 4 or 5 catches. Now, it would have been Denver's tight end. Hireman this past week. He was banged up. It turned out to be Lacoste that caught a bunch of passes. So you got to keep your eyes looking there.
Let me ask you guys this. This is for next year. I think that when I'm talking through draft strategy, Ertz, Kelsey, and maybe Kittle. I mean, Kittle's probably in that range too, but I'm going to highly prioritize these guys.
You're willing to take one in those first?
Like generally speaking, I don't like that. I mean, I
you did it with Gronk this
I did it with
year,
Gronk this
and
year.
it didn't work out.
Because the value was so good. True, it didn't work out. But there's like having Kelsey and Ertz on your team is such a difference this year. And I mean, it has been for a couple years. So I think I'm going to change up my draft strategy that I'm willing to give up that late third-round pick for one of those tight ends.
I don't know that I will do that solely because of what you've experienced with Gronk. Because it's a onesie position, if you get an injury or something, you're just kind of, that then you've lost out on your, running backs and wide receivers where you need multiple positions. It's tough, but look, if you have Ertz or Kelsey,
you're feeling great.
You've got a positive winning record, so I mean that definitely says that there might be something there to that strategy. Hey, Foot Clan, don't forget about the Omaha Steaks deal this holiday season. Send the gift of Omaha Steaks. Go to omahasteaks.com, enter the code FANTASY into the search bar, and you will get 74% off the Omaha Steaks family gift package, now only $49.99. Order today, and you'll get hand-cut sirloin steaks, premium pork chops, kielbasa sausages, burgers, and so much more. Go to omahasteaks.com, type FANTASY in the search bar, and add the family gift package to your cart.
I think it really is just those two, Mike. I think it's Kelsey and Ertz.
Sure, just those two guys?
Yeah, I mean, the attachment that they have with young quarterbacks that you can have confidence in and offensive coordinators that you can have confidence in, and the gap between those two on points per game, they're both 15 a week. That's their points per game.
Yeah.
Even Kittle's down at, like 12. So you gain a huge, huge advantage, 10 points advantage over one of those streamer guys.
Kittle should have the handsome one.
But I don't know if that's good or bad.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
I love Michael Keaton.
That's a fair point.
I do love Michael Keaton. I just saw him on that Norm Macdonald show.
Oh, it was great.
He was great. He was funny.
Hey, check out draft.com/ballers, the studio sponsor. Good luck tonight, Foot Clan. Goodbye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Join our fantasy football community on jointhefoot.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.